we're sick of these Northwestern dudes. They're the dirtiest players in the league.
I mean, Trey Dance is not dirty.
You were a dirty player, and your teammates were dirty. I want to save this for the podcast when we start.
Yeah, don't worry.
I want to say that for the air because I want to air my grievances.
I mean, it's being recorded right now, so.
Oh, all right. Well, we started then.
Welcome to the Front Office, the show where we take you behind the scenes of Princeton 3x3 and dive into the world of FIBA 3x3 pro basketball. I'm Z, also known as Kappa Za. Along with me is my co-host, Craig Moore. As players and team managers of Princeton 3x3, the longest-standing pro 3x3 team in the U.S., we're here to talk all things 3x3 on and off the court. Today we have a really special guest joining us, our former teammate and absolute legend in the world of basketball, Robbie Hummel. Rob has had an incredible career at Purdue, as everybody knows. He scored over 1,700 points, 15 all-time leading scorer in Purdue history, right? Fourth in, I think, all-time list for threes and eighth in rebounds or something. That's what ChatGPT said, so we'll have to go with that. Robbie was obviously big-time player, two-time first-team All-League guy, Wooden Award finalist during his time at Purdue. I think this is a very important statistic. He was 5-1
all 6 years.
He was 5-1 against Craig's Northwestern Wildcats.
Yes.
So we're going to have to get Craig's thoughts on that. And then he was drafted second round to the NBA, played 2 seasons with the Timberwolves, and spent some time overseas, followed his time in the NBA. And then more importantly, made the leap into 3x3. This is where, his career really took off at. He was the first NBA guy to make the leap from 3x3. A lot of talk of Boogie Cousins now, obviously, but Robbie was the first guy that, at least that I know, to do it. 2019 FIBA 3x3 World Cup gold medalist, MVP, and with no more accolades to share. Robbie Hummel, thank you for joining us, man.
USA 2019 USA Player of the Year, right?
Yeah.
Other award winners are like Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. Yeah.
Shaq.
Robbie
I would trade all those accolades to have gone 6-0 against Craig. I'd give it all up. To not lose on freaking senior night to Northwestern.
Oh, and senior night, too.
Well, it wasn't my senior night, but it was somebody's senior night.
It's also the last time we faced each other in 5-on-5.
Yep. That's right. Marcus Green told Etwan Moore, Juwan Johnson, and myself that we were ruining his senior year after the game. I was like, well, you might be right. We just lost to Kevin Coble and Craig Moore and the dirtiest team in the league in the Northwestern Wildcats. So,
was Doyle on?
Right.
Was Tim Doyle on that
is
team
great
too?
Because he's graduated. He's graduated in 2 years. But winning is great because no one remembers that Robbie was like paralyzed from the back down, like had a back brace on, could barely run, and we barely beat him by 2. But no one cares about that.
No one cares about that. All we know is
score.
5-1. 5-1 is what we got from the front office.
Yep. 5-1's pretty good, but man, 6-0 would have been nice against Craig.
Yeah, it would have been. Then I could never say anything. I can talk a little shit because I got one win.
Good segue though, because this is Craig and Robbie playing in the Big Ten together. Is kind of how we were able to get Robbie over to play some 3x3. So I want to hear a little bit about that, Craig.
Yeah. So my first question to you, Robbie, and I have my own perspective because I can literally remember our first conversation. I was like walking along the streets of New York City, like getting a haircut at like a bad like Jewish barber. Like it was great, like awesome haircut. But I remember having a conversation with you. I can't remember exactly where you were, if you had just gotten home from Russia or what. But I remember just like shooting the shit with you and hearing about how like just bad of an experience sometimes in Europe you could have had, and then kind of throwing out the idea of 3-on-3. And I was like, this is a great pitch, but I would love to hear your perspective. Like, were you like, this guy's no chance I'm doing this, like after my horrible experience in Europe? Like,
well, it would have been a lot harder if I didn't know you. I mean, because we knew each other from playing, and then you were in Chicago for a long time. Not a long time, but a few years post Northwestern. So we would see each other in the city. That definitely helped. I remember when you pitched me, I was thinking this can't be true. We're going to fly to Asia and we're going to fly 12 hours and get there, have one day practice, I guess, play 2 games for 20 minutes total. And if we advance out of our pool, we'll play a max of 30 minutes more basketball. And it's free, and our flights are free, and the food is like they feed us, and our hotels are free. I was like, and we keep the money if we win. So I really didn't. I was
kinda
like,
what,
this cannot be real. But I was intrigued. You know, I love to play basketball. I just didn't love living internationally overseas for 9 months out of the year. You know, that was the hardest part for me, was being away from friends, family. You know, I didn't grow up wanting to play in EuroLeague, even though it is an incredibly high level of basketball. I wanted to play in the NBA. So it was really difficult for me to kind of make that adjustment and maybe even shift my mindset to be good over there. And Russia was really, really hard for me. So you caught me at a very vulnerable time, I think. That was good, the timing of it. And then I do remember, like, when it all went down, and I think there was a need for a player because of the stuff in Brazil. There was a need to find a fourth player. And I honestly was like, you know what? I've never been to Asia. The first tournament's in Seoul. So I'll go, and if I hate it, I'll quit. Like, that was my thought process. But you did a good job of pitching me on it. And I mean, think about it. I knew you, but I didn't know Damon. I didn't know Kareem. I saw Kareem go into like anaphylactic shock from eating a banana on the first tournament.
Game.
I'm like, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm allergic." And it's like, why are you eating this? And then I didn't know Damon.
We play like the Euro Cup champions.
Yeah, right.
In Riga,
right.
First game.
And we beat them, which is pretty cool. But like, I got a tech in my first tournament, which was like definitely foreshadowing for what was to come. You know, I cussed at Vlad, and he banged me with a tee really quick. That was my first of probably 100 technical fouls I got. And
wait, did you guys win that event, or how'd you finish?
We lost to Saskatoon.
Canadians. Yeah.
We lost to Saskatoon. Jordan Baker, Steve Sir, Licklider, Licklider, whatever. But it was, I mean, third place with a guy that we were teaching the rules to when he got there, meeting. I mean, the crazy part is the way we did it back then was literally like, we told Robbie, you have a ticket to Seoul. Like, he got on. I was worried that he might not get on the flight, right? Like, we got to. Hopefully, he's there, because the first time we're going to see each other is at the hotel.
Yeah.
Like, to play. You know, everyone went on their separate paths. Damon was in Detroit. Kareem was in Los Angeles. I was in New York. Like, so we all kind of converged on one city, and like, you just are kind of hoping that everyone gets on the plane at that point, because that was our first international tournament that we did as a pro circuit team.
Yeah, and it was also, I mean, like, as Robbie was alluding to, we'll tell this story probably on here later. Like, we were in a very much a pinch where, you know, we had a couple guys that were unable to play last minute, and he really kind of helped us out. So, you know, even before I had ever met him, I was like a fan of him, and was like, holy shit, like, Robbie, I'm just going to play 3x3. First of all, we were in college at the same time. Robbie's a good player. So I was shocked that he was even considering this. And then, you know, he was a homie from the start because he helped us out. We were in the jam. So that was a great way to intro the team. And then we didn't do too bad. I think, when did you win your first tournament? I feel like it was a little bit, but.
So there was 3 tournaments. It was your third official tournament.
That was the one.
You played in South Korea, then you played Nationals.
Oh, let's tell Nationals, that story. Yeah. Jesus Christ. I forgot about that one. It's a very forgettable experience.
So the plan was originally before Dan and Zaire had their run-in with Waka, whatever they're called, WADA. The big deal was how we were going to introduce you. I had a whole plan. We were going to bring you to Nationals. You were going to play. You're going to get your feet wet, and then you were going to go to China. And that was going to be the first one. Maybe we bring you back to Moscow, your favorite city in the world.
I would have quit the team so fast.
So we knew we weren't going to bring you to that tournament. But once Zaire and Dan had you know, kind of to deal with some stuff, we had to shift gears. And it was a huge help, obviously, and it showed your commitment to loving the game and wanting to play. And I remember you saying that. I remember being like, "Hey, it's your first trip to Asia. I've never been to Asia too. Let's go. Let's see what it's about." I mean, really, at that time, none of us really knew what we were embarking on, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know we were going to play in 17 pro circuit events that season. We were hoping we'd get 5, 6, 7. So it would have been just fun trips for all of us to see the world a little bit and spend a weekend together, play some basketball. That's what we were going in as. We didn't know that it was going to all of a sudden, we'd be looking up at the rankings and we'd be in the top 20 after 3 events. And we're like, all right, well, let's try and get in the top 10. Let's try and just keep improving, right? One of the cool stats, so surprising to me, Robbie, the 3 of us have only played in 6 events together total in 2018 and 2019.
Yeah,
I thought we'd have played in more.
Yeah, me too.
So we
How
played
did we
in
do?
Puerto
I remember
Rico.
Puerto Rico. That was a win.
So we have one first place finish in 6 events. Puerto Rico. That was our first event playing together. Obviously, we had a fourth.
That
Yeah.
was a good tournament right there.
Great
on the
event,
island.
indoor, a lot of good shooting.
Hot shit.
Had a rough start.
We also that
And then-
backboard, like every time you dunked it, it would just like
Yeah,
shit for 10
Zaire,
minutes. So we would
Zaire's
just get
still
breaks every
rattling the
time.
back where the foundation of the building is still shaking from some
Well,
of his
the
dunks.
island was recovering also at that time. It was
Yeah.
like a couple months after they had that huge hurricane.
It's like
We were
Hurricane
on the
Irma or one of those big ones.
it
The
was
The first
no joke.
one, the first one.
Yeah.
Then we played in India, Hyderabad. That was our second event as a
Oh,
That
as
was,
a group.
that was awful.
Maybe one of the harder trips I ever went on,
For sure.
for sure.
That was a hard trip.
Serbia, Novi Sad. We went into the Lions Den. Did not.
Got
That was our
smacked
worst
up.
event we played in.
For
We had
sure.
no
Worst
chance.
result.
We were screwed before the ball was tipped to Novi Sad every time.
And that was also our second event in 2019. We just, we weren't meant for success then. But Mexico City, 5th place
Wasn't bad.
finish.
All right.
Prague, 2nd place finish, and then Inje, the famous Inje, in the demilitarized zone in South Korea.
Inje.
We made in 6 events, we made 53,000, which is
not
pretty
bad.
almost 10,000 per event, and it equates to now it would be 88,000 if we played today.
That's solid.
Not
Just
bad.
pretty-
Still,
pretty
I'm still tight about that NJ game. I think we got hosed in that
Dude,
one.
Zaire though was the UN peacekeeper at NJ, where there's 3 walk-offs and one of us is a good sportsman. And it was
Yeah,
Zaire.
take the-
The rest of us were being
I
shitheads.
walked straight to Domino's. That was the only thing they had at that. We watched.
Dude,
we watched-
ate so
we
much
watched
Domino's
Domino's.
in NJ. The food was
We had
terrible.
Domino's and we watched Entourage.
Oh,
That's
right.
all I remember from
Yes,
that.
and
trip.
Long Drive. Remember they had the Long Drive stuff on
Yeah.
the Golf Channel thing they had there.
We-
And that,
we
like,
were with-
it was like a video game hotel. The
Yeah,
big
yeah.
ass TV
Yeah.
they had, like
Yeah.
that place is weird.
We were so funky places, man. People don't know. We were like maybe 15 miles from the demilitarized zone of
That's
Northern
actually
Korea.
terrifying.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. Those are some of my favorite
Yeah.
jerseys, though. Those are sick uniforms. I remember those. Still got that one.
good.
Robbie never kept jerseys or shorts because they didn't have pockets.
I wouldn't wear
they
them.
don't have
Dude. I
pockets,
already
he
have
doesn't
enough
keep-
basketball shorts. If they don't have pockets, I can't do anything with them.
So here's a question for you, Robbie, and then I'll let Z. So how many dunks do you think you had in your 3-on-3 career?
How many years did I play? 4?
Whoa.
18, 19. You didn't really play 20. You played 21 in 2 events, and then 22 you played in like 4.
Can I guess?
So
Can I guess?
18,
throw off.
19 you played.
Okay. So those first 2 years.
I mean,
I think-
20 and 21 were still COVID years. Like there wasn't
Yeah,
that
right,
many
right.
events.
Wait, can we? What's the line? Can we set the line at what, 5? We go over under.
You set the line.
I would
was
set the
gonna
line
say-
at 5.
I was going to say 10.
I'm going under. I'm going under 10
Ooh.
for sure.
It's 12.
Oh,
What?
yes. 12
really?
dunks.
Well, you have to realize in 2018 he was coming off like being a pro 5-on-5
Yeah,
Euro
yeah,
League like cusp NBA guy. Like
No, Rob was good.
He,
Like,
he
yeah.
was like catching in the post, turning and dunking.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I have
go.
no
In Beijing-
recollection of that. I remember
In
him like driving down the
World
lane.
Tour
and-
final. I remember throwing an entry past him. He just caught it like in one motion and hoofed it right hand.
Yeah, fucking Le Mans guys were fouling the shit out of us out there.
Somebody, the Grit team, we got to find that clip because I have not seen this.
Dude,
I
12
remember him
dunks.
driving
We,
the lane. That's
we'll get that clip for this specific.
Man, I can't
excerpt.
wait to see that. That's what I'm
12
talking
is
about.
impressive,
12
dude.
is still pretty good for me, you know?
And you had a
I-
couple like hammers against Lausanne in Lausanne.
That might be the best dunk of my pro career, sadly. Maybe my life.
On the drive, like lift. Now Hummel, he shows some lift. Oh my goodness!
I mean, that was a hammer.
That was a hammer.
Yeah, I had
that
some
was a
good
hammer.
ones in high school, but that was a very surprising. I don't know how that happened, honestly. Like
I think
that's what-
you had a good. You always had a good like you'd catch it and quickly like get them and guide your
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
to them.
yeah.
No, but like that was not something that was probably in my repertoire at that point in time. So I don't know how that happened. I must have got boosted up off what's his name,
King West.
King West.
Good.
Yeah, I must have got the boost there.
All right, Rob. So I got two. We talked about a couple of tournaments. I want to know, one, what was your favorite event to play in, or favorite place to travel to? Maybe not how we did in the event, because we didn't always do great
Right,
sometimes.
right. Like
but,
favorite city to go
favorite
to.
city, yeah. And then like favorite game, or like kind of game that you remember from 3x3.
Yeah. Honestly, I love the Puerto Rico tournaments. And we had
Yeah, it was
some
fun.
I mean, we won in Vieques.
Yeah.
Did we Did we play 3 times there? My last tournament was in San Juan. The hurricane canceled it. That was actually insane.
Well, we went down for a charity event. We went down for a
Oh,
charity
yeah.
event.
So
for the
the
golf
Rain in the
charity
Rose.
event.
So, yes.
Yeah.
So Puerto Rico were my favorite tournaments.
The exhibitions.
But I love the Caribbean. Like I love like the beach, the water, the golf courses down there are pretty dope. I have really good memories from like the boat ride after we won, like riding back
Yeah, that
from
was
the
fun.
island to like the mainland of Puerto Rico. And like the hotel in Vieques, even though it wasn't the nicest thing, dude, your window looked right out to the water, to the ocean. There was that cool little restaurant right down there. We
There's a
won,
Subway
like,
built in.
Subway.
yeah.
There's
There was
Subway.
like epic games to win. You know,
Yeah.
like we beat Harlem
and
in
shit.
a really, really close game to win the final. Beat the shit
We
out of
kicked
Lamont,
the-
which
we
might have been the
kicked the-
last
and-
time we that might be the last time I beat Lamont, which was a lot of suffering after that game.
We also kicked the shit out of Saskatoon. But do you remember Linklater needed a ride after
I
the
do.
ferry ride?
Yes.
So he had to sit with us after
Yeah.
we beat him in the semis,
Yeah, I remember.
like in the van with us. We had like rented a van.
yes.
Those are always some of the best memories.
Three
too,
on
of
three on three trips are hilarious just because
Well,
of the
it's just so incestual.
The forced
It's
the
like the most
interaction.
incestual
Socialization.
sport of like the referees, the players, the people running it. I don't know. You guys were better than me. I didn't really like want to be friends with a lot of people we were playing against. I don't know why. I just
I think
struggle
all
with
of us felt that way. I think all of us felt that way, but we also like
It-
we
the
were playing
season's just
in
too
forced
long.
situations. I mean, you play against a team, you have to ride back with them in
Yeah.
the car, and then like, what are you gonna? You gonna wait like 6 minutes for the next elevator? Like you're gonna get on the same elevator with them.
Also,
Yeah.
sometimes guys like save your life. Like I was in Russia, and coming back in a taxi, I had no money. Like I don't know what happened or how we got lost translation. And then Mieza just comes out of nowhere and gives me like 8 rubles or whatever.
Yeah.
and like
and he would be able to speak Russian enough being from Latvia because there's some like crossover there.
I don't even think he said any words at the time. I didn't even think he knew my name. And like, but
He
he yelled
took
me out.
you up with some
So like,
cash.
from then on, I was like, all right, this guy's not so bad. So
Yeah. No, favorite game we played. That's hard. As I've tried to get back into some semblance of shape here over the summer, I've texted Craig this. I'll get on the Stairmaster and I'll just like throw on old 3-on-3 games, like just random ones that I can find on YouTube.
Really?
The World Cup in 2019 was a blast. Like that was
Yeah.
really, really fun, and we played so well. So those games were awesome, but from a Princeton standpoint, the beating the 3 Serbian teams in
Serbia
Hawaiian
Day
was
Massacre.
was pretty epic. And just because those were the 3 of the best teams in the world at that point in time. Trying to think.
That may have been one of the hardest roads, like pound for pound at that time.
Yeah.
Novi Sad was at their peak. Le Mans was coming into their own, really having a great. And Belgrade
sure.
was like one of the
That was
hardest
a
teams
tough
to
game.
deal with.
Yeah.
Just like knowing that you had to like
So
just
physical.
knuckle up and really have a lot of grit to beat them.
Well, you just
They were
had
gonna
to.
bring
It was
everything.
just rugby basketball. You have to find ways to get over the holding and grabbing, and I was not good at that because I was like, "What the fuck are we playing?"
we all are like at some points.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Some of the Red Bull wins, Canyon reminded me of this. We won in DC in like the craziest game ever, where like this guy threatened the ref, and the ref had to get like a police escort out because the guy said he was going to kill him. Like some of these games were like just so.
Who was
crazy.
on your team then? Did I send Gabe down with you guys?
No, I believe it was Pavel, me, Canyon, and Canyon's buddy who played with him at Florida.
That also
name
might be
is-
the
yeah.
lightest team we've ever
We were the
sent to
biggest
any
team.
event.
Canyon was the smallest guy because his friend was 7 foot. Pavel's 6'11". I'm 6'8",
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Canyon's
yeah.
6'6". So we were huge, but won in just an insane final there.
No.
There has to be some that I'm just like blanking on. I'm trying to think what challengers did we win? Hawaiian was good.
One Puerto Rico.
Yeah, a
Rico.
lot of second
We
places.
finished a lot of second places.
I know.
So there's some great. In 2019, we had some great runs. Like
Prague was a
Lausanne
great
run.
tournament. Yeah.
Oh, I will say the
Prague, you
2019
played really
World Tour
well.
final. 2019 World Tour final is one of my
Yeah,
favorite
yeah,
tournaments.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really like Utsunomiya. I love the dumplings. And we had our little
Yeah, we had a
dumpling
good time.
restaurant we go to. And the practice court was kind of cool, like where they had us in that like enclosed mall thing. But then the venue is spectacular for 3-on-3. The stairs going up and the bleachers, they attend it well. 2019, the final got ruined by the refs, which is a shame because it was like 18 or 19 all. They called 2 fouls on us. Unfortunately, no, besides
over
the bonus,
over
they
the
shoot
back,
4 free
right?
throws and win the game.
Like over the back.
Like you talk about ruining the game. They ruined the game. But the game, that tournament was really, really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably our best shot so far at winning a final. We were all kind of in our prime, peak, playing well. I was probably on my downhill.
Chasing that.
Everyone else was.
Still chasing that, man.
If you had to give advice to anybody similar to you, like a Purdue guy or a guy that's played a couple years in the NBA, high-level EuroLeague guy that is like thinking about playing, Jordan Taylor, for instance, like you're giving him advice on like how to deal with it or the pros, the cons, what would you say to a guy?
Well, I would tell him to embrace the travel because you're going to have some life experiences that are like unbelievable. The tournament we played, we played in Ljubljana and then played on the beach just south of Venice, and then drove through the Alps, stayed in Milan, ate at my favorite pizza spot.
Oh, it's Slovenia you're talking about,
Venice. And then went through the mountains and played in Lausanne. Like that's an incredible road trip. That was sick. So like embrace those types of moments. You're going to play in some cities that aren't as good. Hoi An would come to mind. And then just you have to be able to let things roll. You've got to be able to just be like, I know this is bullshit, but I've just got to let. And I was not good at that. The refs are going to screw you, and there's going to be things that don't go your way. I think even from like your own team perspective, I can't even. There were numerous times where Craig Moore and I were yelling at each other on the floor, but then it's like, all right, fuck that. Let's play. And we were good, right? Like you have to get over things very quickly. And I think that's the biggest thing with 3-on-3 because there's going to be stuff that doesn't go your way. And there's going to be hard trips or the food's going to suck or the hotel is going to suck or whatever. Like it just is what it is. You're getting to play pro basketball. You have an opportunity to play for money. Hopefully you're with your friends. That was the biggest thing for me was I knew you, Craig, but I didn't know Zaire before this. I didn't know Dan. I didn't know Damon. I didn't know anybody from the team. So to come in here and be like, all right, I do know Craig, but I don't know the other guys, and now say like, dude, I've got 6 really, really good friends for the rest of my life. That's a pretty awesome thing. And I just think when you play basketball with people, the bonds or the friendships you make are different from other types of friendships. So embrace that aspect. Try to have fun, even though there's going to be some tough moments, and let the BS just let it go.
Yeah, let it roll up.
Yeah, and I think you can also say like what also builds the bond is like the ups and downs of these travel. Like some of the ups and downs aren't in the game, right? They're not even at the hotel. They're in the travel. It's like the transportation's not ready for you when you get there and you got to wait 45 minutes or
me and Robbie Montreal at like 4 a.m. I think me and Robbie go downstairs and like supposed to be a band there. There's no band there. And we had also gotten kind of hosed by the refs at that event as well. Playing against in the semifinal or the final. But
I remember like the one in France, Sergi, where we played in like the hockey rink and Logan came with us.
Yeah,
like that was an awesome
fun
trip. Remember, we spent 2 extra days in Paris. It wasn't the best conditions, but we made it really fun. We went to see the Eiffel Tower. Like we did all these cool things that like
outside
never
the Louvre.
get a chance to do.
Logan found that drink Orangina that she Orangina.
Oh yeah.
They had the vending, and then the tomato soup she kept eating. She didn't eat any of the food at the hotel. She ate the vending machine tomato soup and would swear to this day that it's the best soup she's ever had, probably.
Yeah, but those are the little things you find out when you're on these trips, man. It was hilarious. I mean, that hotel, Logan basically took vacation days to do that. Like, do you think that hotel's a vacation? Like, come on.
Well, what a rough life. She went to Paris.
Of a hockey rink.
Tough life for
a
her.
hockey rink.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she usually goes to Paris on, like,
her birthday
birthdays.
stuff. Well,
remember?
The perks of her father being an American Airlines captain for 30 years.
Wow.
I do think the bonds are like some of the coolest memories for me, just getting to share these opportunities and playing. And
sure. When we were really good, cool. I think about doing stuff outside of basketball too. And that's the one thing about playing overseas that I didn't like, because I'm so locked into playing. We practice twice a day. You don't get to actually experience things. Like Damon went to the Great Wall in Beijing. I couldn't go with him because I had to get back for an ESPN meeting. because the season was starting in the first World Tour final we played in. Or, you talk about the road trips or like just some of the things that we got to do outside of the games, you're
Venice. I remember
one
time you like stay in like Abu Dhabi for a day or
Dubai.
something like that, or Dubai. Yeah,
coming back from Hyderabad, I was laying over to Dubai, so I just stayed there for 3 days. I'd never been, that was sweet.
Unique opportunities like that, man. And also, to be fair, like I think, and to be fair to FIBA and the sport, like I think when you were playing, we were enjoying. I think that's why it's really cool that you even took the leap. You went from playing at Purdue, flying private and charter, things like that, high level Europe and NBA, where again, charter planes, meals, all that stuff, to literally sharing a room with your 3 other teammates in the Netherlands. You really took a chance on us and on the sport at a time when it was still growing. A lot of that stuff I think has gotten cleaned up from like there's always still gonna be the BS of 3x3. That's what the sport is.
Yeah, but like those things are better now,
much
which is
better,
good.
man.
They should be.
Yeah.
Like right, like we were playing a sport in its infancy, and that's kind of a part of it. Being some of the, I guess, trailblazer players for anyone that played from 2013 or 14 when it started to like 2019. It was still very young, so they were still trying to figure stuff out. In fairness to FIBA, but the memories are honestly really, really awesome. I have great memories of playing. The travel was, I got to go see countries I'd never go to or cities I'd never go to. So that aspect of it. And then you also had the Olympic kind of carrot being dangled, and that was a very, intriguing thing as well.
Yeah. I think the one thing that made it so awesome is we were able to have a lot of success, do a lot of these things, but we all had to like kind of coach each other, right? And we were good about understanding that we were all committed to a certain extent, and being able to take criticism. I think that's the hardest part, is give criticism and take criticism.
Well, especially when you're so fatigued. When your brain is not functioning, because 3-on-3 is, just from a cardio standpoint, it is insane. So that adds another layer to where you're like, man, like it can be hard to take that when it's not a coach, it's a teammate. And, you again, like I said, you just kind of have to like move past those things when you disagree or you have the little flare up or whatever you want to call it.
But those things need to be addressed because, you only have 10 minutes to play, right? Like,
sure.
You gotta make sure you're doing the right thing on defense.
Or rebounding. Like Craig would never rebound. So I would have to tell him, or others would have to tell him, like, dude, stop running to the 3-point line to cherry pick a wide open 2. Fucking rebound the basketball, Craig.
And you got to tell your teammates that, and they got to be able to take that.
I totally understand where you're coming from. All I wanted you to do was yell at Damon every once in a while for it too.
You wanted equal opportunity yelling is what you wanted.
Because I was leading the pro circuit in 3-point percentage. If anyone should be allowed to do it, it's me.
Well, how does that help us when we're getting slaughtered? When we're getting slaughtered on the defensive glass because we're going 2-on-3 out down there, and you're just camped.
You are completely right. You are completely right. And I think I got better over the course of the 2019 season at it. I wasn't perfect.
No, you weren't.
And Coach and Sydney also was a big.
Oh, Sydney, man,
he got into us on that.
Yeah. That first phone call, I had a bad rebounding tournament. I was starting to kind of decline athletically, and there was some missed box outs.
He went old school coach, like he went in for the best player from the start. He was like, I'm taking him out.
He let me know. He definitely set the tone on that phone call. That was tough to hear, but he was right.
Yo, hold on.
When you first started, you were grabbing at the box. You were getting up.
I was still athletic,
man. The knees.
Honestly, COVID really hurt me. My back was in a bad place. I really declined after COVID.
Robbie, me and you both died.
I totally agree. My career ended up at COVID.
Maybe we should rename the pod, man. This is like pre-COVID Hoopers or something.
Yeah, before COVID, man, things were looking good. And then
if you remember when we had the USA the training camp before
February
the Olympic qualifying tournament, pre-COVID in early March, late February, I was in the best shape I had been in 2 years. I know Zaire felt really good. You looked really good at camp. Like all of us were like ready to rock and roll for 2020. Yeah. And if I could have one redo in my career of a 3-on-3, I would love to be able to have that 2020 season with all of us. I think that would have.
Yeah.
It would have been a fun year. It would have been a fun year.
No, I know. I agree. And then COVID happened, and it was just like.
Yeah, we'll sell off, man.
it was not the same after that. That's for sure.
Yo, I got a quick game we want to play before that. I know you got to jump soon. It's just a 60-second segment.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know this. You're a big rap music fan too. We're not going to focus on that, but just rapid fire questions. Yeah, I meant to hit you up during this whole Drake Kendrick Lamar beef and get your thoughts, but save that for off camera. All right, so just quick answers. We got 60 seconds on the clock. Rapid fire questions. Ready?
Okay. Yep.
All right, go. Favorite rapper?
Probably overall Lil Wayne.
Best basketball movie?
Blue Chips. Love it.
Whoa, great movie.
Controversial. I thought you'd say Hoosiers.
Fuck
great
no.
movie.
Hoosier sucks. Keep going.
If you could have dinner with any athlete, dead or alive, who would it be?
Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods. Hopefully they're together.
That'd be sick little trio. Best basketball arena you've ever played at?
The Garden.
What's the most underrated part of 3x3?
I think just the camaraderie and the travel.
All right. Favorite basketball shoe?
Probably I love the Nike Shox, the originals.
I knew you were going to say that. All right. That's that segment. And then we got some 3x3 quick picks real quick.
Okay.
All right. You got to just choose between these two options. Close game or blowing out the competition?
Give me a blowout. Supposed to mask. Kind of like the
For
2019 National Championship game in Vegas.
All right. Watch it.
I gave Craig 17, I think.
He gave me 17, too. I was gonna, he gave
us 17.
He gave us
Gave the
17.
team
We got
17 points.
dude. Yeah, that was no joke. All right.
Dude, when I get hot, though, Craig is a more consistent shooter, but when I get hot, I get
nothing you do.
nuclearly hot. That's
You
the
are
thing.
you are one of the few people that I've seen that when you get hot, you get hotter than me.
Well, it's because
And
he's
that's
so
hard to
tall.
do.
What a
It's
compliment.
like when you see him like shooting like fucking
No,
up
I
here,
mean,
like, it's lights out.
I don't give that compliment out much. Like when
Wow.
when you're hot, like I will pass the ball to you even if I'm on doing well shooting
Dang,
wise, because
that's
like
high praise from Craig right there.
that your flame when it burns really really hot. It's
I just
pretty
need
awesome.
the level of consistency to be a little bit higher, maybe in Craig's
But
league.
the crazy part to me is you always were able to catch fire pretty quick. Like it
Yeah.
only take one.
no,
and if you
it
hit
would be
one,
one man.
You could go to 3 to 4 really fast.
Real quick, yeah.
And you had
Yeah.
such a quick release and a high release that you could get it off against anybody.
It's too bad
on
that
the
shit
three on
didn't
three
happen
court.
more in the NBA. You know, I'd probably have made a
Yeah.
lot more money.
Well, then you should have had those coaches. I think you were a little before your time, right? Like Joe Harris was the perfect timing.
Yes.
You were a
The
year
league
or
was
two
still big.
too early.
The league was still big when I was there. I was, I was playing
Yeah,
the
the
4, and like
banging.
Amir Williams was playing the 4. He's like 6'11",
It's crazy.
250. That's a problem for me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. You were playing power forward in the NBA.
Yeah, a lot of power forward,
Small, like-
some small forward, and honestly, I liked playing the 3 better, especially off the bench, because the 3 is a starter. No, thank you, because you're
Yeah, you
playing
gotta guard
against
the best
dudes that are like- But as off the bench guy, like the 3 is really like I could manhandle guys rebounding in a way because you'd have guys that were like 6'6", 6'5", 190, where I was 6'8", 225. You know, like I actually had an advantage as long as I could guard them. That was the big thing, the big if.
Sorry, you're off.
What's
the
your
bench,
best
man.
NBA
Just get shots
story?
up.
Give us one NBA story.
Yeah, there you go.
Shit.
What?
I have some good ones, but
Yeah, so
let's
One that
go
involves
with-
you maybe coming out on top, not like Kevin Durant shitting on you. Or something.
it's coming out on top. There weren't many stories of me coming out on top. This was pretty cool. So Kevin Martin was sick, and my first NBA start, I remember Terry Porter came to me and was like, Robbie, Coach Adams going to start you tonight. And my heart was beating so fast when he told me this, because I'm like, oh shit. We're playing the Cavs. This is post LeBron's exit. So I'm like, all right, who am I guarding? I'm starting at the 3 because we've got Caleb at the 4, Peck at the 5, Ricky Rubio at the 1, Corey Brewer at the 2. And I'm looking over the scouting report. I'm like, oh man, I'm guarding CJ Miles. CJ Miles can really score.
Yeah.
But, my parents were at the game. They happened to be up in Minneapolis for that. And I just remember, like, the excitement, but the nerves that I felt, like, starting an NBA game. And then getting to hear your name called, like, in an NBA arena and being like, dude, this is my opportunity to, like, do this, And I had a good game. I had, like, 10 points. was efficient, guarded C.J. Miles pretty well. You know, like that. That was a pretty unbelievable feeling of just being like, man, this is the real deal here. This is the NBA, you know?
Yeah, jeez, man. I felt like that in the Big Ten when I first got my first start in the Big Ten.
You know what? That's an incredible accomplishment too. You know, the Big Ten is no joke, and the physicality and the players that have come through the league. You know, that's an unbelievable experience to have that happen as well.
Well, who was your aha moment in the NBA? Like, oh shit, the welcome to the NBA moment. Like,
well, guarding Durant, you know, or seeing Durant talk trash to Gorgie Dang on the bench was like, I was questioning whether I would ever like be able to play in the league, you know, because you're looking at it and you're like, dude, this guy's eviscerating this guy on the bench for saying good D Corey, and it's gone from he's not playing well to now he's unconscious and goes for like 40, you know, and then like you're just the top guys in the NBA are just so unbelievably good, and that. The drop-off to the second unit from the first is substantial, but the drop-off from, like, the elite players to the next tier is pretty substantial as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, man, I know you got to roll, right? What's your deal?
Yeah, I got this call here, but I'm happy to come back anytime. You know, I love talking to you guys, so it's...
Yeah, no, I mean, we're just shooting the shit.
Rob, you just gave out show legitimacy.
I'd be happy to be a regular guest appearance.
You gave us some legitimacy, man.
Well, it'd be cool one time to kind of get, I wouldn't say the whole band. I don't know if we need 6 people on here. You know, one thing we didn't touch on, which we'll have to touch on it next time, and we definitely want to just like shoot the shit with you again, is like the crazy part about it is like how we had to manage each other too. Like all like deciding who was going to each event.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Because normally that's not a team decision. That would be a coach or a GM, right? Preferably. Yeah. Then you're just pissed at the coach or the GM. You're not pissed at your teammates.
Yeah, I always, you know, I wasn't voted on a lot of teams, a lot of rosters, and I remember trying to I would always get pissed when other guys would take it personally, because I was like, we have to, like, you should be using this as motivation to go to the gym the next day and lift. Yeah. And like when everyone's needed on the team. We all played, you know, 75% of the tournaments. Maybe Damon played 85 because he was able to. But we all played, you know, 60. Yeah. So but I remember Z sending out those free conference call links. I'd be getting back from the NIAC playing, and we'd have to do a conference call, and we'd have to, like, we'd decide what lineups were good enough to go, right? And we'd vote on the lineups, so it wasn't each individual player.
Right.
But we had individuals that would be stating their case all the time, like, this is why I think I should go, or this is why I deserve to go. Some people would say stuff like, well, I really want to go on this trip because I like this.
Yeah, because it's like Paris or Amsterdam or like it's not who I am.
That's not why we're making this decision.
Right.
But
right.
I mean, I remember those conversations being hard sometimes, but I think it made us stronger as a team, and it made us like want to perform better when we got there.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I got to run here, but next podcast I want to talk about Zaire botching our COVID tests in Belgrade, and me and Damon having to go through the airport thinking we're going to get arrested.
Hey, man, don't worry about it, man. Just another 3x3 adventure, man. Hard show, baby. Hard show.
Hard show, man. I was like, well,
Rob, thank you for joining us, man. Where can people find you at? Like, I know you got podcasts.
Yeah, I got a podcast with Jeff Goodman. That's on Field 68. I'll be on TV this year with NBC, Fox, Big Ten Network, and probably some Turner, I would think. So,
Jesus, like Kevin Hart, man. He's like everywhere.
Collect paychecks from as many people as you can.
Trying to get on K1s. You can still get K1s?
No, thank God. Jesus. My accountant is thankful.
All right, man. Thank you, Robbie.
No problem. See you guys. Good to see you both.